Hello everyone and welcome to Bourbon Bites Whiskey Reviews with a gaming twist. I'm your host Clifton and welcome to another Thursday night live stream. Happy end of July. We're about to go into a brand new month. Hopefully you guys are having an incredible summer. I just recorded my podcast I just released my latest podcast episode this morning and talked about a very fun summer whiskey, which was the new Los Angeles Dodgers Maker's Mark Champion Selection. So if you missed that, go check it out on your favorite podcast platform. But tonight we are sticking with the American spirit but a little bit different. So if you saw the thumbnail and you saw the title, we are doing Andalusia Distillery out of Texas. And what makes them so unique is they do an American single malt that I've never had before. Am I really quiet, says Tony. I can turn that up. Just let me know. I can turn it up. But yeah, so I've never had Andalusia before, and I'm really, really excited to give it a try. So huge shout out to Bite Club member, which is my membership program here, Michael, for providing this sample in the chat. I see him hanging out as well. Michael, thank you so much for sending me these whiskeys. I've never had them. I've never had anything from Andalusia, so I'm very, very excited. Want to say hello to some folks who are here live. Let me know about the audio. I know Tony had an issue, but if everyone else is good, give me a thumbs up. Again, I'm streaming through Streamlabs again, so hopefully a little bit better picture quality, maybe a little worse audio. We'll see how it plays out. But yes, so Michael says, good evening, all you wonderful whiskey people. Now, this is one of the downsides of this platform is I can't feature comments, so I'm going to try to read through them as I go through. Todd is here, Squirrely T. Good to see you, Todd. He is a Bite Club member as well. Donnie as well. Good to see you, Donnie. Who is here? Guess who's here? I'm glad to see you. It's been a minute. Who else is in the chat here? Tony, of course. Zopher, Emily. What's up, Emily? Emily is one of our incredible mods of the channel here. Taste and Sensibilities in the chat. What's up, Doug? Fat Corn, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know you've tuned into a couple of my shorts and podcast episodes, so cheers. Good to have you. Thank you for tuning into a live. I think it might be the first time you see me live, but I appreciate it. I love seeing new supporters. I'm glad to see someone out that appreciates the content. So cheers to you, my friend. So I gave Michael a shout out. Cool. Okay, the audio sounds good to everyone else. Okay, that's cool. I just want to make sure. Hopefully it looks okay. Although it looks like this thing is like flickering, which is kind of cool. Like, not gonna lie. But like for some reason that looks like it's flickering on my end. Does it look like that to you guys? It's not. But that's really cool. All right, but yes, Andalusia. So what can we talk about this distillery? Well, again, I'm not too familiar with it, but I do know they were founded back in 2015, which is not that long ago, just 10 years ago, by friends Ty Phelps and Tommy Irwin. The location is Blanco, Texas. It's in the heart of what they call Texas Hill Country, which is kind of the inspiration behind the name. So the name Andalusia is a reference to, of course, Andalusia, Spain, which is a very popular wine growing region in Spain. And they say their terroir, I guess we'll say, kind of reminds them of what it would be in Andalusia, Spain. So that's kind of the inspiration behind the name. Their focus is exclusively on malted barley. They use 100% local grain to... Their whiskey is 100% local. It is a grain-to-glass whiskey. Everyone is a single malt, which is honestly pretty unique for Texas whiskeys. I know there are a few other distilleries in Texas that are doing some single malts, but to be exclusively single malt, I feel like I've not seen, as far as I'm aware of, in Texas. But let me know if I'm wrong. They malt all their barley in-house, which is pretty cool. They focus on sustainability, which is something that I love seeing about these craft distilleries and the big distilleries. On my podcast a couple weeks ago, I talked about Buffalo Trace moving to partner with, I believe it was called Meridian. They were going to basically reuse, I don't remember the details of it. Listen to my podcast. I talk about the details there, but it's a bio company that kind of is reusing some of the waste that would come from a distillery and repurposing it and putting it back into the local economy and energy. I don't know how to talk about it live. That's why I do a recorded podcast. Now, they say that their style of their whiskey is a Scotch-style inspiration with a bold Texas twist. They typically age in smaller casks due to the intense Texas heat. We know a lot of Texas whiskey comes out really, really heavily oaked, heavily charred. So we're going to see if this benefits from the smaller casks or if we feel like it hurts it a little bit. I don't know specifically how much each of these are aged until we go into them. I'm going to read some facts about them as we go through them. But I know Texas takes very little time to age good whiskey. So we're going to see the age on these, but with them being smaller casks, it's going to take even less time. Fred's in the chat. What's up, Fred? Good to see you. Doug said he just poured some Stryker, probably bought 5 years ago. Nice. Yeah, we're going to get into that one. I think that'll be the third one we get to. I kind of want to try to go based on how like strong the flavor profile is. So I think we're going to start with the triple distilled, work our way to the Rickhouse series, which is a stout aged malt whiskey. Then we're going to go to the Stryker, which is a smoked single malt. And lastly, we will end with the Revenant oak, which is a heavily peated single malt. So we got a whole gambit of flavors here, but I'm very, very excited to dive in. Hopefully you guys are too. Nick the Greek's here as well. Tony says the podcast, where can I find that? Great question, Tony. Well, if your place of comfort is here on YouTube, you can always just subscribe to the YouTube channel. The episodes are uploaded there automatically, but it's also available wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, podcast. Wait, that's what it's literally called. What am I talking about? It's something called like Podcaster or Caster. Wherever you get your podcast, you can find my podcast. So wherever you choose to listen, let me know, leave a comment, leave a review, and make sure to follow it, because if you follow it, you get automatic downloads. Episodes are only about 20 minutes long, so it's not going to take up a whole day to listen to the podcast. Even if you're behind a few episodes, you can listen to 3 episodes in an hour. So that's kind of how I go about my podcast. It's just the latest and greatest news that you need to know about, as well as a bite-sized review at the very end. Like I said, this past week I reviewed the Maker's Mark Dodgers collaboration. So glad to hear that you guys are enjoying it. I know I've seen the comments come through. Appreciate you guys showing the support. Again, I stopped doing it for so many years, but glad to bring it back and maybe a whole new audience to enjoy it. So if you're enjoying it, make sure to let me know, or else I'll stop again. Just kidding. I won't. Thank you, M, for dropping the link there in the chat. It's super helpful. Cool. So I think I should get something in my glass. What are you guys drinking? You guys drinking anything fun tonight? Let me know. By the way, I won't be going live next Thursday. I will be traveling to Seattle. We have a concert. I'm meeting a friend from back home from South Carolina. We're going up to Seattle for a concert. Lady Gaga, if you must know, Mayhem Ball. It was actually his idea this time. I've seen her in concert a few times, but yeah, he wanted to go see her. So I'm like, let's go. Let's do it. So yeah, looking forward to that. But I'm also looking forward to going back to Seattle. I haven't been to Seattle in probably 4 years. So much to do in that city, so much I haven't done. So looking forward to that for sure. Are any of you guys based in Washington? Give me some suggestions of things to do. All right, we're going to start with the triple distilled single malt. Now, what's interesting, this isn't just even though we're starting with this one, it's not a very easy one to start with. This one is 119 proof. So almost 120 proof, almost 60% ABV. But let's find out what they tell us about this one. Again, I have their website pulled up here, but I do want to go to the individual pages. Triple distilled Andalusia. Let's see what we can find. Here we go. Found it. And now it says it uses what is common in Irish whiskey, which is the triple distillation process, is to supposedly create a smoother, lighter bodied whiskey. But it is aged in charred American oaks. So they say that, but it's 119 proof. So I think what we're going to get here is a very mellow, I guess I would say, whiskey flavor profile, just based on a guess. It's going to be like probably pretty simple, easy going, but we're coming in at 119 proof. So I'm excited to see where this takes me. I'm trying to find this particular release. It looks like the standard release of this is 100 proof. So this one is 119, so maybe it was a special cast strength release. I don't know. Michael's in the chat. Let me know. Is this the regular release or a special release? Most scotches, by the way, are double distilled, so this is triple distilled. They don't have an official page for this on their website, which is a little disappointing. I kind of thought they would. Oh, here we go. I lied. It's under their core whiskeys page. Although, like I said, those are showing up as 50% ABV, so maybe they vary depending on the cask. Oh, you know what? Maybe my eyes are just off on that says 59. I can't read. I don't know, guys. We're just gonna roll with it. But it is American single malt triple distilled. Yeah, it says on their website, smoother, lighter bodied whiskey. Delicate flavor of malted barley is allowed to shine after aging in charred American oak. All right, we'll hold them to that, right? Matthew says, sorry, got ahead of myself. I have not searched for Cliffy's podcast there yet. No worries. No worries. It's available. I just started up season 2 of it, is what I'm calling it. I did 50 episodes back in 2022, and now I'm on episode 8, I think, this week of the new season. But the old episodes are still relevant too. I mean, the news obviously is probably going to be outdated, but the reviews are still, skip to the end, listen to the review if you want to. But I've reviewed a lot. I usually try to put the picture of the podcast, like the episode, as the whiskey I'm reviewing. So if you want to just scroll on the website that Emily sent, find a whiskey you're curious about and listen to the review. All right, let's nose the triple distilled Andalusia. 114. Oh, okay. You wrote 119 proof, but you're saying the standard is 114? I don't know. Either way, it's pretty up there in proof. Matt, oh wait, who else is in the chat? Mark Vasco, cheers. Good to see you. Been a minute. Hope you're doing well. Ah, man. I almost breathed in too deep, and I was like, oof, that almost went down the wrong way. Nice. That's a very not a typical Texas whiskey note for sure. Definitely a sweeter, richer honey. Yeah. It's very reminiscent of like a honey note. Like a barrel-aged honey. Sweet. I mean, I can tell that even though they say it's delicate, I can tell in the nose, this is going to be a really bold whiskey, just proof alone. But it's got like a sweet, like roasted kind of honey note to it. Not like honeycomb, or sorry, not like honeysuckle, which is a note that I get on some more floral bourbons particularly. This is more of like straight up honeycomb, which is what I meant to say. Yeah, really rich, roasty, super flavorful in the nose. I can't wait to give it a taste. So let's see how this is. Michael says I'm right, 119 proof. Cheers. Oh, wow. Definitely unexpected. I mean, I was, not to pat myself on the back, but like that honey note comes through on the palate for sure. It's sweet, but it's not your traditional like vanilla sweetness or caramel sweetness. This is a really dark, syrupy, like maple syrup, honey. It almost even has the viscosity, like not obviously not of like honey, but like very dense viscosity to come with it too. Interesting. Wow. If you would have told me that was a honey barrel, like a honey aged barrel or a honey aged bourbon or something, I would believe you. There's a lot of that influence that's just reading straight up honeycomb to me. Now, the regular release of this, the 100 proof variation of it is $59 on their website. But I imagine this one coming in at $119 is going to be a little bit more premium. Probably, if I had to guess, probably around the $100 price point, but not sure. Man, I got to go for a second sip of that one. That is so unlike any Texas whiskey I've ever had before. And, that's a good thing. Cheers. Yeah. I mean, got that cinnamon there too. It's like cinnamon sugar, honey. I mean, it's almost leaning like Fireball. Like, again, not in a bad way. It's a very, very full-bodied whiskey, but it has a bit of that like cinnamon candy note to it that I get on Fireball. Now, I don't know if they'd appreciate me calling their whiskey similar to Fireball, but it has that cinnamon sugar kind of note, but way, way, way more complex. I would, if you told me this was cast strength Fireball that's been like extra aged, then I would believe you. But no, this is definitely unique. Now, in terms of it being a single malt, on the nose, I can tell that this is a malted barley spirit. But on the palate, it's really nondescript. And I'm wondering if that's coming from the fact that it is triple distilled. It's like, it's pulling out some of those grain qualities that we anticipate from, a bourbon or an American single malt. But with it being triple distilled, a lot of that's kind of being cycled through. So it kind of makes sense why I'm not picking up the specific style of whiskey that's here. All in all, I'm just getting a very like smooth for 119 proof, but like a very like approachable 119 proof. That's for sure. That is very, very good. And I'm seeing Michael say he paid $75 at the distillery. That's awesome. That's so unique. That's definitely for me, it would be more of a dessert pour. It's that sweet. They don't have tasting notes here on the website. They just say a delicate flavor. But wow, so unique. I would put that on par. Like I'm trying to think of other dessert whiskeys. I do know that some Texas whiskeys from Balcones, they do some malt whiskeys experiments aged in Madeira and other types of port casks. Those are so desserty and sweet. It's like you have one glass of it and you're done. This is in that territory. It's sweet, not like overpowering or too hot like some of those other releases I was just talking about are, but approachable, good proof, very dessert forward. Yeah, I'm a fan of this. This is really, really good. Great start into the distillery. But we got some more to go. That's not our first. I mean, that is our first. It's not our last Andalusia of the night. I'm going to stick with my gut and go with the order that I put in the thumbnail, which is we're going to move to the Rickhouse series now. Now, this one is kind of a more limited release that they do. I'm trying to see if I can find it here. Yeah, it's more of a series than a specific one. Let me see if I can find Andalusia Stout Rickhouse series. Tony said, am I being shouted about? No, Tony, I saw them. I can see them on my end. I see the Tony Joey comment. I don't know about, I may have missed the other one, but I do see that one on my end. Here we go. Rickhouse. I found an Instagram post. Maybe this is it. Maybe let me take a look at this Instagram post from them. Andalusia. Imperial Malt Whiskey Heavy Char. I don't know. Michael, do you know what's on the label of this Rickhouse series? I just want to make sure I'm referencing the right one because I'm seeing some online, but they don't look like to be the stout one. I'm like quickly trying to browse to see if I can find the details. If not, it's totally cool. Oh, wait. I found it. Is it the one that says Spirit made from Imperial Stout? Because I do see that on an Instagram post from Japan, apparently, but I found the label. It says Rickhouse series, single batch, Spirit made from American Stout, malt whiskey, heavy toast, #1 char, aged for 40 months. So like I said, there we go. Same bottle. Awesome. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, I found a photo of it now. If y'all are curious, I don't know if it'll let me I don't think it'll let me post in the chat. Oh, well, I just read all the info on it. 53.77. Michael's got us covered down there as well. Matthew says, I remember really liking Andalusia back at the 19 Bastards Ball. Nice. Yeah. I've not had it. This is my first time. All right. So 40 months. What is that? That's like just under 4 years old. That's pretty old, especially with them using potentially smaller casks. Made from American Stout. That's really interesting. I do know that like things like there's some Irish whiskeys that are aged in stout barrels or finished in stout barrels, but never like the actual distillate is the stout. Very excited to see how that expresses itself in a whiskey. Color-wise, this is dark. I mean, 53.8% ABV, but 40 months in Texas is like 8 years anywhere else in the country. That's my thing. To me, it's almost double aged. I think when I think of Texas whiskey, I always think of it seeming a bit double aged. So much darker than the other one. Now, when I say double aged, I don't think that it necessarily tastes as refined as like an 8-year-old bourbon, but the intensity of the oak and like things like color like that, to me, I think show up much quicker, if that makes more sense. I don't think of Texas as the easy way out to like not age something. It's just a different flavor profile. It's definitely more oaky, more charred, and it impacts the flavor so much sooner. All right, let's nose the American Stout Rickhouse series. Oof. Okay, barbecue. We're definitely in the barbecue territory here. The other one was sweet like honey. This is sweet like barbecue sauce. Yeah, it's got a savory characteristic to it. Not quite smoky, but it's like, I mean, I would say not like smoky like you expect a whiskey to be smoky, but smoky like you expect a barbecue sauce to be. It doesn't smell like brisket, like actually cooked barbecue. It actually smells like the sauce, like you bought like some Sweet Baby Ray's or something. Very interesting. A little bit of like an orange kind of zest to it as well. I mean, this smells southern. I mean, if anything that this reminds me of, it reminds me of the South. So, Andalusia, you've got me there. You made a good southern spirit. Emily makes a good point. New Holland Distillery does do the Dragon's Milk Stout whiskey. I've had that once. I can't recall how it tasted, but I said an Instagram prost. I mean, maybe it was intentional. Totally wasn't, but it could have been. It could have been. I'm very intrigued by the nose. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about the palate, but you know, I gotta try everything for you guys. And again, huge shout out to Michael. Definitely a huge 180 difference from the triple distilled, which was so sweet. All right, let's go for it. Cheers. Tony, I see Anthony's comment. Okay. We've toned it down a bit in proof. We're gone back down to 53%, so that's like what, 106, 107? That to me does taste a little bit more like a Texas whiskey that I'm used to. It's definitely got that same impact that I get on some of those smaller barrels. But it's not, it doesn't feel like overly done, but it's almost like a very heavily roasted coffee on the palate. So it's still that savory note. It's definitely not sweet like the other one was. With it being lower proof, I can actually linger on it a little bit longer and pull out a little bit more flavors than I would have if I was just tasting it at cask strength or at the 119. I'm trying to see, my color seems a little dark. Let me see if, I don't know if that makes it better or worse. I don't know. Again, I'm doing manual exposure tonight, which I'm realizing it's getting darker outside, so it's like changing things up. So I'm realizing I'm having to keep an eye on it more than normal, but hopefully it looks okay. I don't want to change any major setting and like lose the quality. By the way, I feel like it looks pretty good compared to normal, right? I mean, I feel like at least on my end it looks pretty good. So we're experimenting, we're trying out new things. I just want to make sure that I'm putting on the best show for you guys, both with content and the way it looks. So I'm gonna watch this after the fact and see how it came out. But I feel like on my end, it looks like we're looking pretty good so far. But I could look awful on your screen and you guys are just dealing with it because you love me. I don't know. Okay, let me go back. Now that I've had a minute to digest the palate, let me go back to it. Yeah, so like a roasted cup of coffee. Not bitter like coffee is. You know, honestly, it has like a... Oops, sorry. It has a bit of like a tea note. Like a black tea quality to it. Very subtle, but it does have some of that typical Texas whiskey flavor, and I think that's coming mostly from the smaller barrels and the high age. I think that's just a consistent thing in Texas whiskey. You get a specific flavor to it that's not entirely bitter, but it is that coffee note. I mean, I think back to the Balcones rye that I have. It's a Texas rye. It has that same like dark chocolate coffee note to it. So I think that's just something that comes from the smaller barrels and the high age of Texas, is my guess here. But I like it. I do like it. Tony says, always looking good, Cliffy. Fat Corn says, I look sun-kissed and beautiful. Well, thank you. Thank you, Fat Corn. Yeah. What about the looks of the stream? I haven't noticed anything. Oh, no, Fred, I was just saying that I'm going through Streamlabs. So I'm not doing StreamYard. I'm doing a direct feed in. Should be 1440p, maybe. Maybe not. I don't know if I changed that setting or not. We'll figure it out. I have been testing the settings a little bit to try to see if we can up the quality. I tried 4K actually. I was gonna do 4K today, but when I did it, there was such a huge lag that I think you guys would prefer lack of lag over 4K. Because like 4K would be cool. It'd look really pretty, but like there would be a significant lag. My mouth wouldn't match what I'm saying. There's a little bit of a lag now, but I think it's bearable. But yeah, the 4K was really bad. I think it's my computer. I built this thing back in 2016. I do need to build a new PC. Actually, that's on my list. Once I get my next set of stocks vesting in my company, if I make it that far, my plan is to spend a good portion of that building a new PC and having a new streaming and gaming computer is my goal. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Got to make it to at least September. Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, to me, it's not my favorite. I think I much preferred the triple distill because of how unique it was. But this is approachable. Again, as a single malt, it doesn't necessarily scream single malt on the nose. It's just kind of like a little bit of savory, roasty kind of coffee. No, not bad by any means. It just feels a little bit more simple compared to what we just had. So I'm excited though, because we're about to go into some really intense flavors, at least based on the descriptions I have in front of me. So maybe I should appreciate the simple now before we get to the darker. So Fred makes a point. He says, pretty sure that the coffee note isn't from the barrels. I believe the compound for that flavor doesn't exist there, and both this and that rye should be from the grain. Interesting. Okay, well, they are both local grain. Now that Texas rye, I don't think is 100% rye whiskey. There's probably some barley in it as well, but it is also a local grain. So maybe it's just that the grains out there have a very distinct flavor profile. Absolutely, you could be totally correct. Listen, I don't claim to be a whiskey expert. I claim to be a whiskey enthusiast. We got a super chat in from Fatcorn, New Aesthetical Computer Fund. I appreciate that. That does mean a lot. Yes, I do. I am due for an upgrade. I have my camera is actually pretty nice. It just this computer can't process it at 4K, so I have to kind of dial back the settings a little bit. So for the future, Cliffy might look even better on camera. I don't know. I mean, I won't look better. I'll be getting older, so I won't be looking better. But at least quality, you can at least see the bottles behind me a little bit better. All right, appreciate that though. Thank you so much for the super chat. By the way, you guys can support the channel with super chats. You can join our Bite Club, which is our membership program we have on bourbonbites.com. Get access to some fun things like our after party hangout, our monthly movie night, which is almost August. We got to pick a movie for August. And some private tastings that we do at the higher tiers. So if you guys are curious for supporting the channel, you can do like Fatcorn did here and leave a super chat. You can join the Bite Club or any way you choose to support. There's even a tipping option on my website. So I do want to give a shout out to Tony Bag of Donuts, who's also in the chat. He actually just placed a merch order through bourbonbites.com and got some fantastic shirts. So hopefully you enjoy those, Tony. And like I said, if you are a Bite Club member, you get discounts on all the merch on the website. So from shirts to hats to mouse pads to coffee mugs. Once you join a membership, you get a discount. And it should be automatic now. But if you have any issues, let me know, because I noticed that there were some issues originally. So, but cheers to you, Fatcorn, and cheers to you, Tony, for the purchases to help support little old me. Aging like fine vintage. Okay, we'll say that, Emily. Fred says, and Michael says, I agree. More likely roast the grain for the stout, which will carry over through distillation. Fred says, more specifically, how the grain was roasted during malting. Oh, yeah, you guys literally said the same thing. Didn't mean terroir. I think about the imperial stouts from all over the world often have coffee notes. Interesting. Good to know. Adam Free in the chat. What's up, Adam? Good to see you. Tony says his shirts arrived today. Wow, that shipping sure is fast, guys. I mean, you can order a shirt and then in a week or less than a week, you can get those shirts. That's pretty cool. All right, I'll stop blabbing. I'll stop doing the self promo, but glad you got your shirts, Tony, and thank you again, Fatcorn. All right, we got 2 more whiskeys to drink. The next one is Stryker, which is, someone said they were drinking it earlier. I think I missed who it was. Someone said they were pouring this at the beginning of the stream. Let me know. You said you bought it about 5 years ago. I saw the comment. I forgot who left it. Fred says another great example is the Woodford chocolate malted rye. Yes, absolutely. All right, let's see if I can find the page for this one. Like I said, this is one of their standard releases. They also make an old fashioned out of this one, which is pretty cool. Stryker, here we go. All right, it won one of the top 20 whiskeys in the world according to the 2021 Whiskey Advocate magazine. This one comes in at 100 proof, 50% ABV, retails for about $59. It says Stryker adopts the Scottish tradition of smoking malted barley that is destined to be used in their signature Islay Scotches. Rather than burning peat, however, Stryker is mashed from malted barley that has been smoked in the Texas barbecue tradition with oak, mesquite, and applewood. This is backyard barbecue whiskey at its best. Okay, well, as a Southern boy, I gotta have a taste of this. I know other distilleries have tried this, and it was like hellfire and brimstone is all I gotta say about that. Did I appreciate the effort? Yes. Did I like it? No. But we'll see. We'll see if this takes me to that level or if it's a little more balanced. Tony says, was it me saying that my Stryker is going to get killed tonight? Maybe. I don't think you said that, but if it is, go for it. You can always kill it on the after party too. Fred said I almost bought Stryker the other day, but got sidetracked. But now I get to hear your thoughts first. The small barrels have made me seriously concerned. No idea why they say that's better for Texas heat. Fred, I mean, I share the same concern. Honestly, what makes me wonder is like that triple distilled one that I had at the beginning. Did it have any of those notes that I associate with those smaller barrels? The Rickhouse series absolutely did. Like it tastes like a Texas whiskey because of that. But yeah, the regular one didn't at all. Fred says conventional wisdom say the opposite. Smaller is better for Texas heat. All right. Michael says they smoke their own grain in a little modified shed behind the distillery. Doug, maybe it was Doug that made the comment. Stryker is lightly smoked but delicious. I love it. I love it. Y'all are getting me really excited for this one. Thank y'all for the preview. I'm so excited to give it a try. All right, let's nose it. Okay, that kind of caught me off guard on the nose. Let me process what I just smelled. Doesn't smell like whiskey. Hold on, wait. Okay, this is gonna be a bit weird. That one smells like creamed corn, but not just regular creamed corn. It's like, you know how people do like brisket mac and cheese? It's like you add some brisket to some creamed corn on the nose. That is very unique, unlike anything I've ever smelled before. That's why that combination doesn't make much sense in my head. But it has like a sweet corn note to it. Even though it's 100% malted barley, it's reading like a sweet corn on the nose. And there's a bit of like a brisket, like a skin, like a bark, I guess is what you call it with barbecue. A bit of that like charred meat bark. I don't know. Listen, I love barbecue. I don't smoke my own barbecue, but I do love it. I know it's called bark, but I don't know what you would call like. I don't know how to describe it to someone. It's not the skin. It's like the crust. Someone. I know some of you guys smoke your meats, so explain to the group better than I can. Very interesting on the nose. All right. I'm not going to be able to tell you much other notes than that based on how it smells. I'm not off put by it. I like it. It's bark. That's what Doug said. That's bark. Yeah, exactly. I shouldn't need to explain it further. All right. Let's go for a taste for this very interesting Andalusia Stryker single malt smoked whiskey. Cheers. Ooh. Nice, nice. Okay. Okay. I see what they did here. They took it easy. They didn't go overboard with that smoked element to it. You know, it doesn't feel like they just like, you know how like when you get a smoked cocktail, you go to like a nice restaurant or like a steakhouse or even a barbecue restaurant and they put like the smoke, they infuse the smoke into like a glass bowl, they put it over your old fashioned, they let it sit, and they do like the full little thing that like makes the smoke go up. It's not that, which is what I was kind of worried when I saw that it was smoked. Doug made a great comment. He said lightly smoked. And that's how I feel about this. It's like the smoke is there. The barbecue essence is there, but it doesn't feel like it's the main flavor component of this whiskey. The whiskey stands out on its own. Yeah. Wow. Interesting. Let me have another sip of that one. Price wise, by the way, it's also $59. I think I'm seeing a theme here. That seems to be the standard pricing for most of their products. Crust or bark? Okay. Bark. Okay. Oh, I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad. I would love to listen. If I had a yard, I would absolutely make my own barbecue. I actually thought about buying a smoker, but then I read that they're illegal to have on my balcony in my apartment complex. So I didn't buy a smoker, but I love the idea of making barbecue. It's one of my favorite comfort foods. And yeah, man, my mouth is watering. All right, let's go for another taste of Stryker because I really like that first one. Yeah, I mean, man, that's definitely their most approachable product. I mean, I did say the triple distill was approachable, but we're talking like 120 proof here. Heavily honey influence. Very sweet, very desserty. This though, this doesn't taste like a scotch. It doesn't taste like a bourbon. It doesn't really taste like anything else I've ever had before. But I will say, it's very, very nice. I mean, I guess the closest thing I could give it to it is kind of like it's similar to an Irish whiskey, but less sweet, more savory. The smoked element to it brings out a savory note that kind of really, really works. Wow. Don't get me wrong, it's sweet up front. That sweet corn note that I was getting at the beginning is there, but it's like a yin and yang kind of situation. It's like super, super sweet up front, and then bam, goes dark, goes a little roasty. A little bit of that Texas funk, I guess we can call it, that char note from a smaller Texas barrel. But it's very, very subtle. It's not distracting at all. Actually, I think it actually improves this whiskey, because if it didn't have that, it would be too sweet, and I think I wouldn't like it as sweet. I think that the smoking that they've done on this, like I said, it's not peat, it's actually oak, mesquite, and applewood. What they've done here has made a really delicious southern spirit. I would die. Okay, that's a bit extreme, Clifton. Calm down. I would love to have this in an old fashioned. And the funny thing is, they release a bottled old fashioned of Stryker old fashioned. So I feel like if okay, I have feelings about bottled old fashioned, right? Because like sometimes they make it too sweet, they make it too, they don't make it right. I think I'd rather have my own bottle of the whiskey and then make my own old fashioned. But if anyone's tried the Stryker old fashioned, let me know if it's actually good, because I could see this whiskey making probably one of my favorite flavor profiles of an old fashioned. Not to say I haven't had it before, because I have, but I think something like this would hold up so, so well in an old fashioned. Oh man. Fred, I think you should, for the price, if you can find it for around 60, buy it. Let me know what you think of it. Doug asked the question that I've been asking about all of these. Can you tell it's a malt from the flavors? On the nose, there is some of that malty quality to it. I mean, on the palate, I want to say yes, because it's like I can't see it being a bourbon, because it doesn't have that specific flavor profile. It definitely doesn't taste like a rye. So if I had to guess, I would probably guess that it's a malted whiskey, but it definitely doesn't come across as the traditional malted flavor that you expect. But it's very, very nice. One of the most unique American single malts I've ever had. I guess that's why they call it Texas single malt. It's its own category. Very fun. I like that. Todd says they have electric smokers for indoors. Okay, but like, do they smoke? I mean, that's a dumb question, but like, what happens when you open it up? Is it gonna fill my apartment with smoke and set off every fire alarm ever? We'll save this save this conversation for the after party. But I'm very intrigued. I'm very curious. We have do y'all have Wild Forks out there? It's it's like a modern what do you call it? I was gonna say brewery. That's not the word. What do you call the place that chops meat? Oh my god. I keep wanting to say bakery. It's not bakery. Whatever you call it. It's like they sell the meats and they're not Arby's. Someone's gonna say the word and I'm gonna like feel like an idiot. Anyways, they sell a bunch of high quality butcher shop. Butcher, yes, thank y'all. I blanked. Thank you, literally everyone who knew this except me. Butcher, yes. So they do sell a bunch of. They don't sell prepared food. It's all just the meat, and they sell it fresh. I don't know if it's a gimmick or not, because I also feel like there's local butchers and there's also even grocery store butchers that I feel like are way more affordable. I can't tell if it's like one of those California gimmick things that's like, oh, go pay way more money here for this because it's whatever, fresh. I haven't gone myself, but I could walk to it. So I've had the thought to go over there one day and like get a bunch of meat specifically for steaks or smoking and bring it back to the apartment and just experiment with it. Haven't done it yet, but someone needs to show me how to do it. All right. Anyways, enough distractions. Enough telling me how stupid I am. I invited it. Don't worry. We got one more whiskey to try, and then we're going to call it a night. We have the Andalusia Revenant Oak. Now, this one is peated. So this one's very different than what we just had. That was a smoked. Some people, as Doug said, lightly smoked. But the Revenant Oak, this is a different beast. Let's see. This is 100 proof as well. Same price, $59. It says a Revenant is a spirit that has returned from the grave. Revenant Oak is a peated, which, as we mentioned, so smoking or smoking the barley is a normal thing. Normally in Scotland, it's with a peat smoke, but this one is peated. The one we just had was made with like more traditional mesquite barbecue smokes. This is infused with a hint of peat smoke that finishes with a smooth and refined character. So this is going to be more like a peated Islay Scotch. Is that good? Is that bad? We'll find out. I do love a peated Islay Scotch, as most of you guys know. I do love a heavily peated product. So very excited to see what an American distillery can do with peat. Fred said, no, it's not a California thing. Good butchers have way higher quality meat than most grocery stores. They're all over the country. Oh, the Wild Fork place that I was talking about? Okay, I didn't realize. I thought, for some reason, I thought Wild Fork just kind of felt like a LA thing. I don't know. But yeah, no, I would love to, yeah, I'd love to find, but I feel like I would rather trust some old man that has had a butcher shop for like 100 years, or not him, but like in the family for 100 years. I would rather, go there than this like very clean looking Wild Fork place. I don't know. Maybe that's just a traditionalist in me. Maybe it's like anti-gentrification or whatever. Not that I'm totally against it, but I feel like something like a new age butcher is like, what about the ones that like do it well and have been doing it for families? Like their families have been doing it for generations. That's what I want to support. Fred said, where or when did this Revenant return from? Well, I don't know. You'll have to ask Michael that question. Oh, independent butcher shops. Oh, no. I wasn't saying that those were in a California thing. I'm saying this one because they have a very modern logo. They have like an app. That's what I was saying. I was like, it kind of feels like they're gentrifying the butcher category, which I know I hate to use that. I don't like to say the word gentrifying because I think I have very mixed feelings on it, but I feel like that's an example of, it's like, oh, you want like super processed, mechanically separated meat, go to Wild Fork, or go to your local butcher and get the real thing. That's the vibe I get from it. Anyways, enough talk about that. I don't know why I went on that tangent. Probably because I forgot the word. Anyways, let's go ahead and nose this peated single malt whiskey, Revenant Oak. Emily says, what's the difference between Revenant and Lich? Lich? What are we talking Lich? Is that a vocab question? Probably. Okay. Sweet on the nose. Not quite as sweet as the triple distill. Not really getting too much of that peat smoke. I mean, it's there. Actually, now that I did a bit of a nosing cleanse, I think the peat's there. Definitely more prominent than the smokiness on the Stryker. The Stryker to me the smokiness was subtle and just red savory. This one I would absolutely guess is a single malt. There were some questions earlier, like, can you tell it's a single malt? The Revenant Oak 100% noses like a single malt. Would I guess Isla though? Probably not. I've had some peated, I think it's lowland scotches that I've had that have been peated as well, that have a slightly different peat than an Isla peat. That's kind of more in the territory that this is. I like the nose though. It feels like it's combining two different things, like the peat of what you should expect from a Scotch with the everything that's great about their single malt that I've said so far. Fred said, not Wild Fork. Oh yeah. Got it now. In my defense, you didn't know the term butcher, so my expectations were low. Your expectations should be low just in general for me, Fred. You should know that by now. Oh my gosh. Meat, you can never go wrong with Spam. Well, Don, good luck getting that Spam over here. I'm just kidding. We do, but we don't have the variety that you guys have. Welcome to mainland USA, Don. If you guys didn't know, Don Nishida just moved from Hawaii to Colorado. Just avoid a freaking tsunami that didn't really happen, but you get to say that you left before the tsunami, so there's that. Cheers to you, Don. Aloha. We can still say aloha. All right, let's try the Revenant Oak peated American Texas single malt whiskey. Cheers. Oh, really rich. Wow. It has the viscosity that I loved about the triple distill. It must just be something the single malt itself really does a good job with carrying the heaviness and the oiliness to it. I mean, the flavor, listen, nothing on the bottle says heavily peated. Michael wrote heavily peated, so I was expecting it to be a peat bomb. It's not. It's definitely peated. Like if you're not a fan of peat, it could seem heavily peated. To me though, it's a lighter peat, but what's carrying it more is that body and that viscosity of the single malt itself. That's, I mean, we said that the triple malt was made to be delicate. This is more delicate, even though it has a smoky quality to it. Um, it's like smoky, but like the flavor is a little muted. I'll say this one isn't my favorite in the lineup. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, and it's not because it's peated. Because listen, I love a good peated single malt. This one just feels like, This one is so approachable, man. I could, I don't want to say I can do it, but I could chug this one if I had to. It's very, very light. Yeah, I think, honestly, if I was going to pass on any of these, it'd either be that or the malt, the stout. Let me try that real quick. No, I actually prefer the stout series. Okay. Yeah, I like the Revenant Oak. It's a perfectly fine whiskey. It is peated, so if you're like new to peat and you think you're a little bit, opposed to it, but you want to like dabble in it a little bit, the Revenant Oak is a good way to do it. Do I think it's the best peated whiskey I've ever had? No. Do I think it's the best expression from Andalusia? No. But I think it's a very approachable, easy to go peated single malt. So that being said, I do have a top 3 here, which you guys already know. I'll rank them in just a second, but I will say that the Triple Distilled, the Rickhouse series, which is the stout, and the Stryker are my top 3 for tonight. Let's see. I want to make sure I get caught in the chat. Fat Corn says, I'm just starting whiskey. I'm just starting whiskey. A Scotch peated is scary sounding. Salty, meaty, boozy. I'm not ready yet. No, that's fair. That's 100% fair. I will say I was a bourbon guy for years before I even tried Scotch. Just growing up in South Carolina, that was kind of the thing to just the go-to drink. I moved out here to California and I met a lot of local friends that were really into Scotch. So it definitely took some learning and a lot of like trying things with my like just like being prepared to taste the worst thing ever. But the more and more I tried it, the more I realized I actually really do love a peat flavor. But I will say the entryway to me, now this isn't for everyone, but for me, I like a peated Islay Scotch, but it has to, or it doesn't have to, at least when I first started, it had to have a strong wine influence on the cask. So like a sherry or a port. So if I had like a peated Scotch, but it was finished in like sherry or port cask, which were like a very sweet fermented wine cask, then that's why I actually really appreciated it. So it's like you combine those two flavors individually, they seem like they would be contrasting, but they actually work really well together. That's what got me into Scotch in general. But for now, I appreciate all of it now. My heart's still in bourbon. But American single malts like these are really kind of stepping up their game, and they're really standing out as unique spirits. And these are no exception. Andalusia is doing something really great here. They have a variety of flavor profiles across just 4 different whiskeys. So varied between each of these. And I don't know. I like them all for what they are. Even the Revenant Oak, which was not my favorite. I think it's approachable. I think it's easy. And it's a nice intro into a peated whiskey. So, Doug asks, which one is the most clearly malted barley? Great question, Doug. Let me do a quick palate cleanse. Yeah, Doug says peat and sherry usually work out well. For me, that was what got me into it. It's like I couldn't try peat by itself. I couldn't get behind it. But as soon as I tried peat and sherry together, I was like, oh, I get it now. Now I can try them separately and appreciate them. But before, like, I had to have those two together. Ooh, M says those whiskeys are great with chocolate notes. Agreed. All right. Okay, to answer Doug's question, which one is most clearly malted barley? I'm going to go back through real quick. Ooh, okay, that Rickhouse series on the nose really gets you. That's pretty clearly malted barley, the Rickhouse series. But let me try it compared to the other ones. I wouldn't guess it with the Stryker at all, like I said. Revenant Oak, I would say, is the second most. I would say if we're looking specifically for those malted barley notes, the Rickhouse series, especially this one, the stout cask, or not stout cask, but stout. What was the Instagram post? Let me pull it up. how do they label this bottle on Instagram? They said it was the spirit made from American Stout, but it's a malt whiskey. To me, that one's the most obviously malt influence. I do think that the Revenant Oak, you can tell that it's a single malt, but it's very light of a flavor, so it takes a little bit of digging. Never would I ever guess that the triple distilled or the Stryker are single malts. Let's see. Fat Corn says, "Oh, I forgot that cask flavors. I love balsamic Asian sherry. Oh, interesting. I've never had that. I do love me some balsamic vinegar. I'll try Scotch and sherry. I already feel like an adult. Gonna go golfing next and buying stocks in a Roth IRA. Well, I will say the only golf I've played is mini golf, and I do have a Roth IRA, so maybe I got my steps out of order. Drink whiskey, mini golf, then stocks. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. To name my favorite tonight, I think honestly the most unique of this was the triple distilled to me. But it's not something that I would drink every day. I mean, not that I encourage drinking every day. It's not something that I think is an everyday pour, is what I meant to say. This is more of a dessert. Like, it's like you want something sweet, just like something small, a sweet pour of something, and then calling it a night. That's where I see the triple distilled being. Actually, I think the Stryker is my favorite. Like, as much as I think the flavor profile of the triple distilled is a little bit better, the Stryker to me is such an interesting whiskey. And it's just overall delicious. Love the flavor of it. I love the subtleness of the Texas smoke on it. The Rickhouse series, the stout cask, is very good. It's not my favorite. I think it's not as balanced as the other ones, but and I think the Revenant series is approachable. It's a little too approachable for me. That sounds awful. It's a little too simple for me, especially paying the same price for these other products in the same lineup. I'd rather pay for something a little more complex, like the Stryker or the triple distilled. So those are my thoughts of Andalusia whiskey. These are all first impressions. First time ever having this distillery. Thank you, Michael, so much for sending these samples. Do want to give a shout out to Emily, just throw out in the chat. Whiskey Mountains, Adriana, our good friend. She's been doing an Alzheimer's fundraiser. Now that sounds weird to say Alzheimer's. It's Alzheimer's. There we go. Wow. I say that as someone with a history of it. It's like I forget. But it just sounded weird when I said it. She's doing an Alzheimer's fundraiser this Saturday. She does it every year. She's been raising money for several years, and I've contributed to this campaign since she started it. And like I said, very personal to me. It runs in my family. Very, very high chance that I will suffer from this disease at some point in my life. So I'm very, very thankful for the research that she and her organization do. If you guys can just tune in, even if you don't have anything to give, just please tune in to her live stream this Saturday. Like I said, I don't know if I said it earlier, but I'll be in Disneyland on Saturday. I have plans to meet up with some people, but I'll try to tune in and maybe pop on camera from Disneyland for a little bit. I do have something that I kind of have planned. I do have some giveaway items in there as well. So if you want a little preview, I'm giving away 2 months of my Bourbon Terabyte membership, which is my $50 tier. It gets you access to our monthly tasting. We do 5 1-ounce samples every month. So someone's going to win 2 months of that, and they'll get to join Todd and Fred and I for that. I love giving that away because it's such a fun experience. It lets me a chance to meet new people, and I hope it feels like it's worth your donation. So you guys can donate at, like I said, Emily dropped the link there, but you can tune into the live stream, and she'll tell you more about how to donate. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching tonight. Make sure to check out the podcast that came out earlier today. And I look forward to seeing you guys next Thursday on the podcast and here. If you all have any questions or suggestions for topics, you can join our Discord server, which if you're not yet on, wow, it's all catching up to me now. If you're not yet on our Discord, it's a great community of whiskey-loving friends. It's not a huge community. It's relatively small. You're not going to be blown up with like hundreds of notifications a day. There's a core group of about 10 to 15 people that are there regularly, but we have people popping in every now and then from all over. If you're curious and you want to check it out, you can go to bourbonbites.com. There's a link to it. It's Bourbon Bites with a Y, by the way. Join our Discord there. Come hang out. Come make friends with all these amazing people you see here in the chat. Get to hang out with them, not just during these streams, but anytime you want. So cheers, y'all. I'll see you guys, like I said, not live next week, but I will put out a podcast. Sorry, I should have clarified. I'll put out a podcast episode next week, but I won't be going live. I will be in Seattle. So cheers. I'll see you guys when I get back. And until then, this has been Bourbon Bites, whiskey reviews with a gaming twist. Cheers. Have a great weekend. Happy almost Friday. And yeah, have a good one. Let me know what you're drinking. Post in Discord. I want to see what you guys are drinking this weekend. All right, bye.